Hi, I'm Asia Mallory. I'm the consumer staff attorney here at the Maryland Volunteer Lawyer Service, and this Facebook Live is going to be bail bonds versus home detention. In Maryland, most of the initial pretrial release determinations are made by the district court commissioner. In most cases, the arrested person will see a commissioner within the first 24 hours of being arrested. So, if a person is given a bail, the judge determines if a bail is appropriate and whether or not the bail should be unsecured or secured. An unsecured bail requires no money to be paid up front. However, if the defendant fails to appear in court, they then would owe the full amount of the unsecured bail. Then there is called a secured bail. A secured bail requires that money and or collateral be posted or paid before the person is released. A judge can set any number that they feel appropriate for the amount of bail. A recent rule change has allowed a judge to consider a person's financial situation when they set bail, so that bail amounts are balanced across income groups. Most times a person is still unable to afford the bail amount, so they will seek out a bail bonds company. If a person doesn't adhere to the rules of the bail bonds company or misses a court date, they are then required to pay the full amount of the bail amount to the bail bonds person. In Maryland, bail bond companies can utilize debt collection processes in order to obtain the money that the defendant or the client may owe back to them. Many of these debt collection processes can be crushing to the defendants and their families. Home detentions, there are two types of home detentions. There is free and then there is private. Prior to COVID, home detentions were hardly used. Now they are being used all the time. To get a free home detention, a judge has to declare that the defendant is eligible for a free home detention under the Department of Safety and Corrections. However, the judge just declaring that a defendant is eligible is not enough. That's just the first step. The defendant has to actually meet the criteria in order to get free home detentions. And that process of meeting the eligibility and going through the process of getting a free home detention can take months. Then there's the private home detention, in which the client is released on his own recognizance, but with the condition of home detention. Under the private home detention, this costs the client some money. The longer you are on home detention, the longer you are subject to home detention fees. If you cannot afford the fees, then most times you are sent back to jail. The worst part about the private home detentions is that if you are acquitted of charges or the charges are dismissed, you don't get the money back you have paid to the company who was monitoring your home detention. Both systems prey on poor Black and brown communities. They often trap families in debt and loss. In Maryland alone, $75 million was kept in premiums from people without a conviction who were just out on bail or on home detention. For-profit bail companies cost Maryland families over $250 million, not including interest and fees. And bail bond companies are often concentrated in Maryland's poorest communities, and they are overwhelmingly paid by Black and brown people. So for more information on bail bonds versus home detentions, you can watch a training located on our website at mvlslaw.org.